Good morning, Year 9, and welcome to this Your Lesson today, Tuesday the 2nd of June. I hope that you're all doing okay, and I hope you had a nice and restful half term last week. I hope you're able to switch off and enjoy some of the weather and have some downtime, because believe me, I do understand that working from home for you, just like it is for us, is a real challenge and is actually very tiring indeed without those natural breaks that you'd have if you were in school. So, we're now entering your last half term of Year 9, and I spoke in our last video, at our last lesson, about a GCSE question. And I said I fully expect you to find this really, really difficult because it's a GCSE question and you are not GCSE students, you are Year 9, not Year 11. But we're getting there. We are nearly a third of the way through the GCSE course. We are picking up those skills. You've covered an awful lot of the grammar. You've done really, really well with all those tricky tenses. And yeah, we're slowly getting there in terms of turning you from beginning of Year 9, start of your options, into GCSE students. We're going to take another step towards that today. We've practiced a number of these 90-word writing tasks already, and we're going to do another one today. That's the large part of the lesson. Please do keep doing the questions and extensions I put on the title. It's just a nice way to warm you up into the lesson. So on the title slide today, there are 4 different questions. So please do keep trying to do those to get you started. And I've also given you a dice game. Now, if you remember when we do this at school, we have the 3 columns. The first one is I, you, he, she, we, you, all, they. So that dice number predicts which person it is. Then it is the infinitive, and finally it is the tense. Now, normally I'll roll the dice, we'll do it all together. Obviously I can't do that, so if you have dice at home, by all means roll 3 dice, bit of variety, and do that 10 times. So you have to write 10 verbs down. If you don't have dice at home, absolutely fine, just pick 3 numbers between 1 and 6 and do that 10 times and just create the verb just to get you practicing. Because the 90-word writing task is a key part of the GCSE writing exam. And you normally have these 4 bullet points in Spanish. Now, I have given them to you in Spanish, but I've also given them to you in English so you can practice, so you make sure you know what you're doing, essentially. And what I want you to do is I want you to spend the majority of the lesson doing that. Now, I'll talk about an extension in just a minute, but I want you to spend a significant amount of time on this. I want you to think. I want you to care. I want you to really focus on ensuring that you provide the best shop window possible. And I've used that phrase before. When they mark your writing exam, I can't put a post-it note on saying, by the way, this student's actually really, really good and they work really hard and they try their best. I can't do that. All they can mark is what they see. So therefore, you've got to show off your full array of Spanish in that little shop window of your writing exam. So what I'd like you to do is to really focus on that. I want you to make sure you include variety. Make sure you include different people, make sure you include different tenses, make sure you include those time phrases so you can give a full account of what you can do. Now, you are only marked for 90 words, so I'm going to ask you to do your 90 words and then stop. But if you want to practice more and you want to push and extend yourself, can you put a little asterisk, a little star next to the bits you want to extend and carry them on beyond the end of your 90 words? That way I can mark the 90, but you can also have a chance to develop it more if you want to. This is a piece of written work that I would like sending in, please, so please email it to me. My email address you are getting to know by now, and I will send it back to you with some marking, so please make sure you do send that through today. I will be following it up if I don't get it, because I want to make sure I get a chance to mark all of these. And I really hope it goes well. The mark scheme is a key thing, and I'm going to look at that with you in a bit more detail now. So this is what the mark scheme looks like, and it's really important you take time to understand this because this is what will inform your answers. There's no point starting off on a task if you don't know what you're aiming at. So it's really, really important you do take time to look this through. As you know, there are up to 10 marks for content, and in the second half here there are up to 6 marks for quality of language. So if we start off with content, we're going to start top down because, to be honest, if you look down here at 0, this is a hopeless answer and none of you are in that category. So that's nice and easy to ignore. So starting at the top, you need to cover all aspects of the task. There are 4 bullet points, so you need to make sure you cover all 4 of those. I'll talk about what happens if you make mistakes in a minute, but they're not that crucial. What's important is that your communication is clear and I can understand what it's saying. So therefore your mistakes do not stop me from understanding what you're trying to say. You also need to make sure you convey a lot of information and that it goes beyond the bare minimum. Finally, opinions are expressed. If you look down through these categories, opinions are expressed in the 7 to 8. An opinion is expressed in 5 to 6. An opinion is expressed in 3 to 4. If you don't express a single opinion, you cannot get higher than 2 marks. So therefore, make sure you are using opinions and more than one. Make sure you're showing off that skill set to the examiner. Right, moving down to the quality of language, this is where it does talk about mistakes. You see in the top band here, 5 to 6, errors are mainly minor. There are some more serious errors, particularly in complex sentences, but the meaning is always clear. That meaning is the communication in the content section. So don't worry if you make the odd mistake, particularly if you're trying to push yourself and use more complex sentences and more complex structures. Mistakes aren't the end of the world with this. Communication and meaning need to be clear though. You also need to make sure that you have a variety of vocab. We've talked before about saying the same thing over and over again. Please don't do that. Try, even if it's true, even if you do always go to the same place with the same person to do the same thing, use a bit of variety. Change it up and show that you know more than the bare minimum. Remember, this is that shop window for you to show off the Spanish you know. As you drop down a band, you can see there's only some variety. There is some attempt at complex sentences, whereas in the top band there is a greater expectation of that. There are some major errors, but overall the response is more accurate than inaccurate, and the intended meaning is usually clear. That means I might not be able to understand exactly what you're getting at on a couple of occasions, but mostly I know what it is that you are doing. So please take time to have a look through this. It's important before you start. So you've had a chance to have a look at the mark scheme. You had a chance to understand exactly what it is you need to do. Give it your best shot. Please don't use a translator. There's just no point. I want to see how well you do so I can see a fair reflection of your Spanish. So good luck with it. Hope it goes well. Any questions, email me, and please make sure you send through your completed version once you've done it. Thanks.